Well, it's going to eventually happen. I always EDC two different knives. I pretty much always carry a folder knife. This is a Benchmade Axis 4A that my kid got me for Father's Day one year. And then also I carry some form of a multi-tool. And recently I was doing a Swiss Army, the Victorinox, the Sportsman. Oddly enough, I lost it. So now, after having lost it, had to pick up another knife. So I went with something relatively similar to the Sportsman. Picked up the Victorinox Swiss Army knife Hiker model. So I thought today we'd jump in and take a quick peek at it and see what features and functionality it has. Okay, so let's get the particulars out of really quickly here. So this knife right now, this is again the Hiker model from Victorinox, so it's the Swiss Army Hiker. It is selling right now on Amazon for about $34, I think is what I picked it up for. The dimensions, let's see, with it closed down, we're about 3.5 inches, so a little over 1/2 inch wide. Height-wise, about 3/4. You guys can see it's a relatively small footprint. It is all stainless, just like their normal sort of offerings are, so relatively low maintenance in the whole scheme of things. So let's check out some of the features. Right out the gate, it's really hard to miss. It comes with a keyring attachment on here, which is awesome because I have been carrying this thing on my keyring now in an effort to try not to lose it, which apparently was the fate of my last knife. So we'll see. This is going to be the standard tweezers. These things are as sharp as normal. They're relatively flexible, so you're not going to dig out big objects, but for the small stuff like splinters and all that fun stuff, these work pretty darn well. Really crisp on the ends here. They stay tucked up in here, which I like. I thought about swapping that out with the little ferro rod, but I do use the tweezers from time to time. And then on this end, you've got their normal sort of toothpick-ish thing. All these things lock really well up into here. They just slide in and stow. I really like that Victorinox offers that on these items. I did opt for the red scales. I think this comes in at least one other color. Nothing to me screams Victorinox like these red scales, so I was happy to stick with those. We'll start on the bottom first. Down here, obviously, right out the gate, you've got that big kind of chunky Phillips head screwdriver. Nice little handy. I do pull this out and use it from time to time. You'll also notice down here really quickly, and a lot of people miss this, that little hole down there is a pin carry. So if you have like a straight pin, it'll fit down in there. It has to be a relatively short one. It can't be a super long one because it's going to stop about right here. It's like a normal sort of clothing pin. I like to tuck one down in there, and actually I need to get one and put it in this knife because I haven't put it in there yet. But I like to tuck that down in there because that does kind of help dig out splinters and stuff if you're trying to work with the tweezers and need something a little bit finer than the normal knife point. So that's what that little hole down in there is for. You guys can probably hear this really well. Nice little crisp snap to it. These things do lock back into place pretty well. There's not an actual official locking mechanism, but you'll feel them snap back in and pretty much fit into where they're supposed to be. Kind of continuing off this back side over here. This was something I wanted to be sure to get. You've got this little pseudo-sharpened punch for sewing, for gear repair. I like having this on the knives that I carry, and I've had knives in the past that did not have that on there. And I've always regretted not having it whenever I picked up a knife without it, because I don't always make repairs in the field, but occasionally you do. And this comes in pretty handy when you do that. And it was important to me that I got a knife with the screwdriver on it instead of the corkscrew, because I have yet to accidentally forage a wine bottle in the woods and feel like I needed the corkscrew. But I do occasionally need that screwdriver to work on gear repair stuff. So I'm cruising along the top of the knife now because that pretty much closes out the bottom of it. Not a lot of stuff down there, but just a little bit. So across one side, let me go ahead and open both sides of it up over here. So on one side, we have can opener and small flathead screwdriver. On the other side, we have bottle opener, larger flathead screwdriver, and also wire stripper. You guys can see and probably hear again, these things snap back really well and lock into place. And then aside from that, we've got two blade options. Oh, that one's dirty. Got the short blade here. We'll measure all this in just a moment. And then then we've got the longer blade. So short blade, about 1.5 inches of clearance. Longer blade throws another inch on top of it, so we're about 2.5 inches. We'll close this down, we'll get to the last feature. You guys can hear that. I like that little nice crisp snap to it. Okay, and then the last feature, which was actually really important to me to get because my last knife did not have it, is this very typical Victorinox Swiss Army knife saw. It is super aggressive. It's not something huge. I'm not going to process like firewood and all that fun stuff with it, but sometimes you just need to do some notching and tidy up some things, and you want some relatively decent precision on it. This little saw blade comes in pretty handy, and you can see that I've definitely been using this one already. Probably have used it more than anything else on this knife so far. I do like their little saw blades, but they are aggressive. So this knife comes in at about 2.7 ounces. It is the normal, very sharp blades that you would expect to get from these guys. They all come pretty darn sharp. Swiss folks over there do a really good job with these. Because of that, it does run their normal sort of lifetime guarantee on any material defects. They either, I think, fix or replace. I've actually never had to return one. More often than not, I seem to lose them more often than I tend to break them. But we're going to see how well this one holds up and see if I can keep it around. So if I were gonna probably make an improvement, I probably should have opted for a model with the scissors. Kind of in hindsight, after I got to using this one for a little bit, I did realize how much I missed having the scissors. I think they have a Field Master that has the scissors, has the saw, the punch, and then the screwdriver on the bottom of it. So I may pick that one up next. Probably gonna be the Field Master. We'll see, but in the meantime, this one's working quite well. It's not a big thick footprint, so I don't really notice it in my pocket when I'm carrying stuff. Overall pleased, but maybe. Okay guys, hopefully you found that useful. It seems to be a good little knife so far. I've always liked the products I have gotten from them typically in the past, not really had issues, other than actually trying to keep up with the darn things because I seem to lose them all the time. I'm gonna keep this one on my key ring and just see if it survives a bit longer here. It pains me to lose anything, but life happens and sometimes those things happen. If you're interested in this knife, I'll throw a link in the description below. Just thought we would take a few minutes today and go in and check it out, just in case you were wondering what was out there and in the market for something somewhat similar. As always, if you're out on the trail watching this video right now, just remember, left foot, right foot, repeat. We'll see you out there soon.